Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I am so excited for this one. I highly encourage that you stick around and you watch this one all the way through because I am officially going league racing, and this is something I've wanted to do for a long time on iRacing. So I joined a league called League Zero as we head out for qualifying. This is my first time ever doing qualifying, trying to get the cold tires up to temperature. It is open qualifying, so super intense. A lot of good drivers in the field. I believe the highest rated driver is around the 7,000 range or something like that, and then the rest are kind of in between. I'd say 3,000 in that range, and then maybe there's a few that are under the 2,000 range. But very, very intense field. Very strong field. Having to get used to letting drivers by in qualifying. That's always a weird feeling for iRacing. And having to manage the traffic in qualifying as well. So we're here at the Red Bull Ring, as you can see, and trying to set up a lap where I had slipstream in front of me, but enough of a distance where I wasn't going to get held up. And let me tell you, that was really challenging. You can see we could fit in, I know it says 15 laps in the top left, but you could really only fit in about 12 or so before the session ended. And just a lot of drivers going off. So many drivers on track. There was like 31 or 32 cars in this first heat. And this driver right here, unfortunately, impedes our lap through this right here. So we end up losing time there because of the loss of downforce on the front wing. And so that's going to slow us through that sector, so we're going to have to give it another go. In my practice sessions, I was doing 11.8s, so pretty quick around here, right up there with the front guys. But in this session, I was very, very, very slow. A fixed setup on this race, so everyone is all on the same setup, and I just think the high fuel load for this, whatever we had, was a little bit too much for me to get used to in the qualifying session, so I was almost a second slower because of that. And the super formula is so difficult to get the tires up to temperature. So the way that this league works is it is broadcasted, and I'm gonna have the caster explain that in a second here, how it works.
So hello everybody, welcome back to another League Zero race. Today we are here for round 1 of season 14.
We'll start at a P9 with Fabian Sanchez inside of the top 10. James Turnbull and Michael Briscoe will make up the 6th row. Lights are up. Let's go racing at Spielberg. Race 1 coming your way. 5 lights. And we're underway at the Red Bull Ring. It was a great start from the pole sitter Callaway as they run up towards turn 1. The scramble into the braking zone begins early here.
So there is the start. That is our race director, Antonio Bianacci, I think is how you say that. I'm sorry if I botched that, but he is the one that runs the league. And if you guys want to join, there is a Discord, and I think they accept submissions up until a couple rounds in. So the field is still open, but if you do join, if there is a lot of people, you will have to qualify to make the main event. But if you're around the 2,000 iRating range, you shouldn't really have a problem. But anyways, going into the uphill section here into turn 3, very, very, very tight. So I decided to just back off. And let me tell you, when this is some of the most intense racing I've ever done on iRacing, I firmly mean that. This was just, I've never done a sprint race before like this, where it's a showcase event that's broadcasted, and people were going crazy. I mean, being in the middle of the pack, I qualified like P12 or something like that because I just did not have a good qualifying session at all. I knew I was faster, but having to manage through all of these cars in traffic, it was extremely, extremely difficult. And coming out of this sector right here, you can see somebody spinning around. We'll take a look.
So let's have a quick look here. So this was Peterson, the exit of turn 1. Oh, that was... Okay, that was... Well, only word for it is it was nuclear. It was... I could not get around turn 3. And then this moment here for Brenner. Wild snap oversteer off of the curb. Great evasive action, though, from Court to just get out of the way and try and stay out of trouble.
So you can see that was what happened on the first lap. And now we've got this huge train of cars in front of us. This is from about P9 all the way to P1 up there going into the first corner. If you could just barely see that. We have some pressure from behind here. Regarding the incidents, I'm probably only going to show the ones at the start of the race because there's a lot of cars on track, a lot of things that happen. As you can play that back in my rearview mirror, somebody had a spin there with me getting a little loose, deciding to defend against this driver. Going to try and outbrake him. We'll see if we can make that work. It's a little bit loose and just understeers kind of into him, but it was only just the slightest wheel-to-wheel contact, so no damage from that. He's going to absolutely chuck it up the inside, which is quite a bold move to say, and he's going to end up spinning out of that. So that could have ended very poorly for us, but we now find ourselves on lap 4, within the top 10 at this point. I think the scoreboard up top hasn't quite updated yet. I don't even know, honestly. We've got more accidents here. Like, this is what I mean. It was just so hard.
Is when they're going to have to, you know, really think about, really determine when they want to use that that overtake.
Oh.
That's a big crash, though. Turn 1. That was Leo Del Mar and Colton Piazza.
I mean, this was the biggest thing. Like, it was just so difficult to have a clean race in the sprint race, and somehow I did not find myself in any incidents throughout this. I have no idea how, but these drivers were really, really scrapping. And I don't know if that's just because it's a broadcasted event and people are watching, or what, but I have never raced in a race with this level of competition, and I was having so much fun because you could just tell people wanted it. They were not treating it like it was, you know, your super formula race that you just do weekly. This was a true competition and a true battle, and the car that just overtook us was the championship leader from last season, championship winner, excuse me. So Adam Merchant, I believe, is his name, so we'll have to remember that name throughout the rest of the season, because I am going to be, at least as of right now, competing in every single race till the end of the season. So I think there's about 12 rounds or something like that. I could be overestimating that a little bit, but luckily enough, I was following the championship leader, right, in Adam Merchant, and at this point, trying to see how fast his pace was and seeing if I was able to keep up with these guys. And honestly, I wasn't looking too far off, so I think we're going to be pretty competitive this season. We should be able to finish within the top 5 if I play my cards right, as we make an overtake here. A little bit of an inside lock, but we're going to be able to get that move done. I'm still learning all of the other drivers' names as well, so that will get better as the championship goes on. I'll know who's who, and hopefully we have consistent people going to races every week, so you know it becomes easier for me to remember that. But we take the white flag in the sprint race. We started P12. I think we're within the top 10 now, around P8 or something like that. We're gonna see if we can just make one more move here going into turn 3. We're on overtake mode. It's just a little too indecisive from me. I really felt like he was gonna go defensive and wasn't gonna leave that door open, and because of that, I tried to brake super late on the outside to go around the outside, and then we've got contact right there between Adam Merchant and another driver in the final corner, so that's gonna give us some more freebies. And actually, after the race had happened, we got promoted again. So it says we finished P7 here. We actually ended up finishing P6 a couple days later after the penalty was applied to those drivers. So not bad for my first race. Very chaotic, extremely hectic.
15th past is 1 point plus. So the next race is a continuous grid, of course, of race number 1 with a top 5 reverse grid.
So top 5 reverse grid, that puts us just outside of it. So we're going to retain our position. This is the feature race, 32 laps. You have to make a mandatory pit stop at some point in this race, but it cannot be within the first 5 laps or the last 5 laps. So you have to wait for that window to pass before you can pit. It was very, very, very cramped on the inside of T1 there, so I just decided to go wide. I didn't want to make contact with anybody. Luckily, the rules, I personally think, are very, very good in this league, and so I'm just trying to avoid contact as much as possible and try and race cleanly here. We'll take a look at some of the incidents on lap 1 from the outside.
Amel, Sarkis, Callaway, the reverse top 5. Everyone else starts where they finished in race number 1. We are underway for race number 2. Here at the Red Bull Ring. It's a scramble towards turn 1. Drivers going here, there, or everywhere to try and get anything that they can off this race start. Of course, a longer race in this one, 32 laps or 45 minutes time certain if we were to get some safety cars happening. But the scramble up towards turn 3 is absolutely maximum. Now, I've noticed already it's been a little bit less chaotic.
So just like the casters said, a little bit less chaotic. It was much more uniform this time around, but that didn't mean this race didn't have incidents. It definitely did, but I highly recommend you guys watch the broadcast. The league is every Thursday night on at JP Broadcasting. I will provide a link in the description for you to check it out. And the races start at around 9 p.m. on Thursdays. Qualifying and all of that takes place beforehand. But 32 laps. So the incidents were far less because I think people realize that this is just going to be a much longer race and you need to make better decisions. And so my strategy for this race in particular was to just kind of get my feet wet, see what the league is like, and not try and be a hero on the first round, right? Let's just get some good championship points, put ourselves in a good position, stay out of any unnecessary battles like earlier in the sprint race when I had the championship, reigning championship winner behind me. I decided to just kind of let him through and observe his line. So now we're in quite a battle with this driver here. He's a Brazilian driver. I just can't remember his name at the moment. But he was quite quick, and this was kind of our battle for the whole race. So unfortunately not on overtake mode, but we're going to look to the inside. Felipe Sarkis is his name. Actually, I'm going to correct myself there. So we had a good little scrap with Felipe throughout this race, and that should bring us a little bit further down. So we're 4 laps in now, and I think we're within the top 5 now. We're just barely there, but I had a really, really bad lockup, and Felipe starting to attack us again because of that. The 2 drivers in front of us, Adam and somebody else, just really, really scrapping. Adam and Shaji, I think is how you say it. I have no idea. I'm sorry if I completely botched that. But these guys were really scrapping for a while. And, this gave me a lot of confidence because these guys are the front runners. They're the top fighters. So you have P1, P2 right up there. And then I'm right behind, reigning championship winner. I know I've said that like 15 times, but we're right there. We're hanging with them. So that gives me a lot of confidence throughout the rest of the championship that I'll be able to hang with the top guys no matter the circumstances if I don't make mistakes like I did just there. So that was a mistake that could have been easily prevented. I was kind of driving in my mirrors there, not going to lie. Unfortunately, going to have to forfeit another position to get rid of this slowdown penalty. But because I saw Felipe in my mirrors, I kind of got a little psyched out. I thought I was going to turn in on him, unfortunately, and decided to just concede that position. But I knew I was quick enough to hang somewhat closely to the front guys, and so I just kind of psyched myself down a little bit. Is that even the right way to say that? I don't think that's the right way to say that at all. I calmed myself down. That's what I was looking for. Calm myself down to just set up the move again and just get past these guys and put myself back where I was. Because at the end of the day, this is a 32 lap race, right? So we're going to come in for a pit stop. I opted for lap 15. I didn't really know what the strategy was for this race and what other people were going to do. So I just figured pit right in the middle of the race, give myself 1 lap to warm up the tires, and we'll just see where I come out. A lot of wheel spin coming out of the pit box, which unfortunately, I didn't realize this at the time, but as I come out of the box, Felipe is going to pass us. And had I not wheel spun like that, I probably would have ended up ahead of him. But at the same time, I don't know if it would have mattered because, the Super Formula car is very, very tricky on the cold tires because they have no tire warmers. So it takes like 3-4 laps for them to get up to temperature. And to be honest with you, after we make our way past this lapped car, that was really all that happened for me in this race. This was a very, very long race where I was kind of on an island by myself after that pit stop, and I just did about 20 laps by myself there. So that's going to do it for round 1 of League 0. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That sprint race was so intense, and we've got some banger tracks on the calendar, a few street circuits in there as well. Things are going to get absolutely crazy once we go there. I'm going to hand it over to the casters, and they're going to run you through some stuff.
As this result says, here he is, Callaway, dominant here in Spielberg.
Been absolutely dominant in Spielberg. Took the pole, took race 1 win, and now takes the race 2 win as well. For Jaden Callaway here out at the Red Bull Ring. Adam Merchant comes home P2. Nadibe Amel comes home P3. Felipe Sarkis will come home in P4. Solid points for him after P2 in race 1. Michael Briscoe rolls around the final couple of corners, will make up the top 5.
So there we go. We finished P5 in that race. There are the standings. I believe Jaden Calloway is going to be our championship leader after this race. So I'll do my best to find the championship standings for you and provide that in the next race. Because this was the first race, I didn't have access to them yet. But what a race, guys. I mean, that sprint race was just something crazy. I can't wait for more sprint races. I'm also a little scared of them, to be honest with you. But that's going to be it for this video. I encourage you guys to leave a comment, leave a like if you enjoyed it. And be sure to stick around for round 2. That will be coming up this Thursday at around 9 p.m. for the sprint race. And then the feature will follow directly after. Thanks so much for watching, guys. And I'll catch you in the next one. See you later.